Every day, something dramatic happens in the Caribbean that affects our lives. We'll give you the details. We'll give you the facts on Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick. Here's Eddie Frederick.
So glad you can join us. St. Lucia's COVID-19 cases reach triple digits. This story takes the lead in our 980th edition of Caribbean Perspective for Friday, 6th November 2020. Details after this important message.
The hurricane season is now upon us, so we as Caribbean people need to remember to think safety and be prepared. Avoid venturing outside during a storm or hurricane, especially if there are strong winds. Rooftops and other debris are often blown about and can cause great damage.
Welcome back. St. Lucia's total COVID-19 cases have officially surpassed 100. 8 more cases were identified by health officials, bringing the overall confirmed positive COVID-19 cases to 105 as of the afternoon of Wednesday, October 4th, 2020. Public health officials insist that a dramatic rise in cases was anticipated as St. Lucians emerged from the lockdown and authorities restarted the economy. However, as rising numbers result in both revised protocols and regional travel arrangements, how did St. Lucia end up there?
St. Lucia recorded its very first COVID-19 case on the 13th of March 2020. The island grappled with trickling numbers of the virus, which resulted in a national shutdown in April, which forced a 6-month state of emergency to be implemented. Following the lifting of the state of emergency at the end of September, the island had to deal with the threat of community spread after the infection of a minibus operator on October 10th. Merely a month later, St. Lucia has hit triple digits as of November 4th.
This brings the total number of cases diagnosed in country to date to 105. Case number 98 is a 33-year-old female from the Mico district. Case number 99 is a 36-year-old female from the Soufre district. Case number 100 is a 45-year-old male from the Barbuda district. Case number 101 is a 4-year-old female from the Beaufort district. Case number 102 is a 4-year-old female from the Beaufort district. Case number 103 is a 54-year-old female from the Labrie district. Case number 104 is a 55-year-old female from the Labrie district. Case number 105 is a 50-year-old male from the Grosile district.
Chief Medical Officer Dr. Sharon Belmar-George says the 8 cases were in quarantine awaiting their results. She gives details of 4 of the cases identified through contact tracing and 3 through epidemiological links.
Case number 98 is linked to case number 55, number 77, and number 92. Case number 101 and 102 are linked to case number 68. Case number 103 and 104 were identified through the community outreach activity undertaken in Labrie. As per protocol, arrangements have been made for the transfer of these individuals into care at the respiratory hospital. The new cases now bring the number of active cases currently in country to 73. All of those cases remain stable and there is no case requiring critical care.
In a recent press briefing, health officials revealed the island's bed capacity at the respiratory hospital stands at 85. Since the onset of the pandemic, 2 individuals have landed in the intensive care unit. Patient number 25, an elderly man with pre-existing health conditions, and a 48-year-old woman in quarantine who was found unresponsive in her room.
Make time for physical activity daily. This can include a walk, swimming, or even backyard gardening. Remain hydrated by drinking water throughout the day. These daily health habits will help to build the body's ability to fight off infectious illnesses.
With no vaccine, therapeutics, and antiviral treatments, health officials continue to tout the tried and tested approach at reducing the spread of COVID-19, which include regular hand washing, social distancing, and wearing of a mask every time in public. Solange Alfred, HTS News Force.
Antigua and Barbuda's fight to diminish the spread of COVID-19 has received a major boost. The country is the recipient of thousands of personal protective equipment donated by the Pan American Health Organization PAHO with support from the Canadian government. ABS's Sherilyn Beezer reports on the virtual handover ceremony.
This includes 6,000 face shields, 10,000 respirator masks, 30,000 surgical masks, 3,000 isolation gowns, and 1,000 protective goggles.
Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Health, Ina Dalso-Henry, says the ministry is extremely grateful for the PPEs to sustain the safety of healthcare workers and the populace. Advisor on behalf of Dr. Yetadis Gabri, PAHO WHO representative for Barbados and the Eastern Caribbean, Dr. Jean-Marie Rangoboba, was also thankful. Also in attendance was Honorary Consul of Canada to Antigua and Barbuda, Roy Bento.
We are proud to provide this support for personal protective equipment for the frontline workers and medical personnel who are helping to keep Antigua and Barbuda safe.
Health Minister Malwyn Joseph says his government is deeply appreciative of the generosity of the Canadian government.
There is no doubt that without the generosity of countries like Canada, that we would be hard-pressed to secure the necessary PPEs and other equipment to enable us to fight COVID.
Minister Joseph says Canada has been a reliable friend for many decades. Dr. Rangoboba says the Twin Island state can expect future donations of PPEs as it continues to mitigate the spread of COVID-19. Sherilyn Beezer reporting for ABS News.
You're listening to Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick.
Jamaica's Houses of Parliament set to return to Gordon House for sitting later on this month. Vashon Brown of TVJ News reports.
Back home now, leader of government business in the House of Representatives, Edmund Bartlett, says plans are on track for MPs to return to Gordon House later this month for parliamentary sittings. Sittings of the House are currently being held at the Jamaica Conference Centre to ensure that MPs can follow physical distancing rules in light of the COVID-19 pandemic.
I am to advise the Honourable House that the preparations for a return to Gordon House is now in full flight, that the work has started in earnest, and we're being advised that we should be ready for the 15th of November as we had indicated. The leader of the opposition business and myself have been working on it along with you, Madam Speaker, and the team from the House. And I believe that we are going to be in a position to accommodate all 63 members in a manner and style that is fitting to the Westminster model that we embrace.
Meanwhile, the government of Jamaica is moving ahead with plans to make Portmore Jamaica's 15th parish.
Local Government Minister Desmond McKenzie moved a motion in the House of Representatives yesterday for the establishment of a joint parliamentary committee to consider the matter. South Central St. Catherine MP Dr. Andrew Wheatley will chair the committee.
And whereas the economic, social and cultural benefits and potential for generating revenue with Portmore becoming a parish, be it resolved that this Honourable House of Representatives appoint a special select committee to be chaired by the member from St. Catherine South Central to sit jointly with a similar committee to be appointed by the Senate and to consider and report on the proposal to make Portmore City Municipality the 15th parish of Jamaica.
Now, the Jamaica Labour Party promised to make Portmore a parish in its manifesto released before the September 3 general election. It's now time for a break on the midday news, but please stay with us. More local stories.
Over in Guyana, the PPPC administration will be answerable for the termination of several public servants, according to the leader of the PNCR, David Granger. He expressed plans to approach the government of the day to ask that the former employees return to some standard of professional training. HGP's Amel Griffith reports.
Leader of the People's National Congress Reform, David Granger, believes that things are getting worse in the public sector since the PPPC administration assumed office back in August. His comments comes on the heels of the termination of several public servants that he alleged were not political appointees. The former head of state also said that scores of innocent public servants were forced to resign. The former president reiterated on Friday that dark days are ahead.
To start dismissing people, it returns us to the state that existed before 2015, when people felt that they had to be obedient to the government of the day. We never threatened our public servants.
At his weekly press conference, the PNCR leader said that the country cannot run without an efficient and, I quote, unbribable, end of quote, public service. He maintained that in his efforts to iron out deficiencies in the public sector while serving as president, he conceptualized the Bertram Collins College of the Public Service. The school's primary goal is to ensure that there is always a high caliber of trained personnel within the public sector. He expressed hope that the PPPC administration carries on this tradition. Meanwhile, in addressing the plight of the fired public servants, Granger stated that he will soon be approaching the government of the day to ensure that those persons return to some sort of professional training.
But when young recruits, when young cadets see that the most senior positions in the public service are held by political appointees, and they sometimes have to go and direct or instruct or teach those appointees how things are done within a particular ministry, because they've been there maybe for 10 or 15 years. Not only are they looking forward to being promoted, but they have experience, they have the knowledge, they have the expertise. And these people come in, they're just political hacks.
Granger, defending firings under his administration upon assuming office in 2015, alluded to those fired as political appointees who pose serious threats to the progression of the public service.
If you have a political public servant and a political minister, you're going to get chaos in that ministry, and there are going to be problems below. And we had to clean up the problems in 2015 when we went into the government, because there was a plan, a program, there's almost a vendetta against professional people.
Back in August, President Irfan Ali said that no public servant was fired since he assumed office, but noted that political appointees of the previous administration resigned and several others were advised accordingly. The PPPC administration denied claims of witch hunting. For the HGP Nightly News, I'm Mel Griffith.
I am Eddie Frederick, wishing you a restful weekend. This has been Caribbean Perspective, a whole new approach to highlighting developments in the Caribbean. In the meantime, please continue to log on to CaribbeanPerspective.com for more daily news and more.